3 filtration principles I live by. Let's get into it. Hey everyone, welcome back to another video by Reef. So while setting up my Nuvo 14 nano reef tank, I started to think about some of the filtration methodology that I have and that I live by, and the reasons why I believe in them. So I thought that in today's video I should just share some of these principles and some of the tips that I've learned from other people as well as from my own experience. Before I get into the 3 principles, I want to share that these principles are not exhaustive in any way, and they may or may not work for you, and it's very important to be flexible and to adapt as you go along. By the way, it would be super helpful if you could hit the like button and hit the subscribe button as well. I really appreciate the early thumbs up. The first principle that I live by is about having multiple types of different filtration in your tank. I like to think of filtration in a reef tank like a sports team. The team has a common goal, but they all need to work in unison in order to achieve success. Similarly, each element of filtration needs to work together in unison with each other in order for the reef tank to be successful. It is also important to note that just like a sports team, filtration has chemistry with each other. What I mean by this is that there are some filtration methods that works best with another filtration method. So take the example of a filter floss and a skimmer. As the filter floss takes out large particulates from the water, the skimmer does not have to work as hard to filter the water. This means that the chances of failure in your tank is much lower. My recommendation for filtration is always to consider the filtration methods such as mechanical, biological, and chemical, and to determine from there how each of these filtration methods synergizes with each other. If you are setting up a new reef tank, I recommend leaving some room for flexibility. And by that I actually mean the ability to increase the amount of filtration or decrease the amount of filtration. Increasing or decreasing should entirely be based on your nutrients as well as your maintenance schedule. It is always good practice to leave room to add or remove filtration based on the tank requirements. In my case, for my Nuvo 14, I've left the middle chamber empty so that if I ever wanted to add some new filtration method, such as adding a UV sterilizer or biopellet reactor, I can do so with relative ease. The second principle is about considering the type of tank you have and the tank that you want. When thinking about filtration, the type of tank is the biggest limiting factor on your filtration. So if you have a all-in-one tank, having a large skimmer is impossible. Or if you are having a hang-on-the-back filter, a UV sterilizer might not be possible. So what I would recommend is to decide on what type of tank that you want or you are purchasing, and then look for a tank that you really like and see how they run their filtration. While I'm a firm believer that every single tank is different, that doesn't mean that some filtration principles cannot be mimicked in your own tank. Looking for someone who has a similar tank to you will greatly help to put you ahead in terms of thinking about how and the means of running your filtration. This ties in together with the goals that you have for the tank. And that means that thinking about how much you feed, what corals you like to keep, that will all tie in with how your filtration works. One important part of this to consider is also the maintenance schedule. If you're trying to copy someone's tank, you have to copy their maintenance schedule as well. And the reason I say this is because manual labor or manual maintenance is part of the filtration. So think about it this way. In most cases, filter floss can help to filter the water. However, if you do not change the filter floss regularly or as needed, the filter floss will begin to clog up, and defeats the whole purpose of having filter floss. And in some cases, it may even be detrimental to your tank. So when following someone, make sure you are able to keep up with their maintenance schedule as well. The final principle that I live by is that flow is important for filtration. Personally, I feel that there's not enough information or talk about how flow helps with filtration and the impacts that it has on the tank. Flow not only helps to stir up detritus and remove inorganic material from the tank, in some cases it can help with removing and solving some algae problem as well. So one example would be like cyanobacteria, where in some cases increasing the amount of flow that you have can help with cyanobacteria. However, beyond that, the water flow has an impact on how much turnover there is in the tank. And I'm really not too sure if the amount of flow has an impact on the efficacy of the filtration methods. UV is a great example of a filtration method that has been clear as to what is the best amount of flow for the best results. I do believe that in the near future, more emphasis will be placed on flow, not just for coral movement and growth, but for filtration as well. So yes, don't forget about flow when thinking about filtration. Alright, so that's my 3 tips on tank filtration. Feel free to leave any questions that you might have about tank filtration in the comments. As always, I will keep you guys updated on the status of the tank next week. And with that, I think I will end my video right here. Thank you for watching, stay safe, love your tank, till next time, see ya!